Hello everybody, this is TipTopMTG here today with another Magic the Gathering video. In today's video, I'm breaking down the top 10 most expensive cards in Ikoria Lair of Behemoths. Ikoria Lair of Behemoths is just around the corner, well kind of. Due to the global pandemic, the North American and a European launch and a lot of launches all over the world were delayed into May, so a lot of these cards you're not going to be able to get your hands on for about another month, but I thought it was still important to let you know what cards you should be looking out for as valuable cards that, first off, this shows power. Now, just because something is expensive doesn't mean it is powerful, but there's a high chance of it. And it also just lets you know, hey, I saw this card really cheap, maybe in a different language, maybe I should pick it up because it might raise in value, or they may have undervalued it. So, yeah. Couple things to note, all of the prices here are in US currency, and it also is all Card Kingdom prices. You could probably find these cheaper somewhere else. Also, another thing, these are all pre-order prices and are going to go down. Let's jump right into this. At number 10, we have Nethroi, Apex of Death at $9.99. It's a 5-cost legendary creature, cat, nightmare, beast, 5/5 with death touch and lifelink. And whenever this creature mutates, return any number of target creature cards with total power 10 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. So overall, really good recursion. It kind of gets rid of some of the problems Mutate has with, you know, one thing dies, now two things are dead with one kill spell. This can let you bring some of that back. Overall, I think that the fact that it's a mythic is really driving up its price. I don't think this is going to see any standard play, but I could totally see, like, Brawl playing this. So, yeah. Next, we have a Luminous Broodmoth. It's a 4-cost creature, insect, 3/4 with flying, and whenever a creature you control without flying dies, return it to the battlefield under its owner's control with a flying counter. So, pretty good. It's going to let your stuff revive twice, and I think that this could actually see some play in Standard, and so that's why I think it justifies a $9.99 price tag. Now, again, these are probably going to go down. I don't know if this really has a deck in Standard. Obviously, this wouldn't go on a blue-white flyer deck because that doesn't really do anything because everything already has flying. But it could be interesting to see this in combination with some other cards do some very interesting things. Like, I don't know, with the Uzalith, which is a card later on this list, that, like, removes counters from things. I don't know if you can use this to somehow go infinite, but I'm sure there's something fun you could do with this card. Next, we have Eluna, Apex of Wishes. It's a 5-cost legendary creature, beast, elemental dinosaur, 6/6 with flying and trample, and whenever it mutates, exile the top cards of your library until you exile a non-land permanent card. Put that card onto the battlefield or into your hand. So you could reveal, if you're playing not standard, Emrakul from the top of your library and just throw it right into play, and that would end up costing you 6 mana. That is pretty good. This is definitely going to see some play in Commander, and it's something I totally want to play. I think it will, if it sees play in Commander and Brawl, I could totally see its price going up, but I think the price will trend down. But yeah, again, we're seeing another card that, because it's 3-color, it's a really good card for Commander and Brawl and all of that. Looking at it from a historic perspective, which historic and Standard and Brawl are kind of my 3 formats I play, because I kind of look at this channel from an MTG Arena perspective. I don't know how much play this is going to see, but it's definitely interesting, and I could see some people trying to run some jank deck with it that's trying to get some really expensive stuff, or it could also totally just be a very popular deck. It'll be interesting to see. We have next, at number 7, we have the Tricycle Lands. These are at $10.99, so they are pretty expensive. They're up there with Shocklands. Now, I think a lot of that is because Card Kingdom wants to be careful with their pricing. They don't want to have the price so low, and then not have them have the price so low then see them be really big, and then they just lost a bunch of money. So I think they're starting conservatively, especially because these have the 3 land types. Like, I'm going to be honest, I don't know how this works in Commander. If you had a red and blue Commander, could you run Raguran Trinome, which is an island mountain plains, or is that technically white and so you can't have it in your deck? I don't know. I might do a follow-up video talking about these lands in Commander, because they are pretty awesome with fetch lands. They are another thing you can fetch with fetch lands to fix your colors. If you're running 3 colors and you're in Commander, you're probably already running the 3-color lands, so you might as well replace them with these, which add cycling and add the land types. Something like Swamp and the Indatha Trinome, which has a plain swamp and forest type, that's super awesome. Nissa cares about forest. Cabal Coffers cares about Swamp. So, like, these are pretty crazy. So, yeah, I think that these are either going to go really up in price if they see a lot of play in Commander and Modern, I mean, anything that plays fetch lands, or they're going to go really far down in price because they come in tapped and they're kind of slow and the cycling cost is too much and they don't see any standard play. But, I mean, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. Next, we have at number 6, the Uzalith. It's a $13 card. It's a 1-cost legendary artifact. And if a creature you control leaves the battlefield, if it had counters on it, put those counters on the Uzalith. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if the Uzalith has counters on it, you may remove all counters from it onto target creature. So, decks that care about putting counters on things, you're not losing all your value. You're not, like, getting 2 for 1. If you put a +1/+1 counter on a creature using a card, that's all the card does, you're not losing 2 cards when that one creature dies. You're just losing 1, which is very interesting. Also, it's a UMA trigger, so you can, like, do some pretty awesome stuff with this. Next, we have Narset of the Ancient Ways. It's a 4-cost, red, blue, and white. Legendary Planeswalker Narset has a bunch of non-creature synergy. It costs $15. I think this makes sense. I think Planeswalkers, they should always kind of start high, at least for pre-order prices, because Planeswalkers are kind of, a lot of decks take Planeswalkers and say, hey, I'm going to build around this, or this is going to be a very big player in my deck, and a card like this that can gain you life, ramp you, kill creatures, draw cards, and win the game. This card can do all of that. And so, is this going to find a deck? I don't know. That's why I think the price could drastically lower if this doesn't find a deck. Although Jeskai Fires is already a thing, and so I could totally see this fitting in a Jeskai Fires deck. Is this going to find a deck? Probably, but it might not. And if it does find a deck, I could see this going way up, or I could see it going way down. Now, because of COVID-19, I could totally see all of these cards just crashing into the ground no matter how good the cards are, because that's what's happening. Magic cards, the prices of them are going down, and I think that's to be expected, and I don't think there's really much we can do about it, but it'll be interesting to see how that compares to Throne of Eldraine, which I will do at the end of this video. I'm going to talk about these prices compared to not Throne of Eldraine, Theros Beyond Death. Next, we have Luca, Coppercoat Outcast. It's a 5-cost red legendary planeswalker who lets you basically draw creature cards, randomly free cast creature cards from your library, and win the game. So, a lot of cool stuff. He clearly cares about creatures. You might run him into like a dragon's deck in red. He costs $15, same as Narset, so it seems like they're saying, hey, planeswalkers, we want to price them high and then lower their price if they're not good, which I think is probably pretty fair. I don't know if he's really going to see a place in Standard, because red right now really cares about rushing out there, and the decks that run red really don't run it for creatures, they run it for non-creatures, which is why I think Narset's going to do so much better. But it'll be interesting to see what type of impact he has. Who knows? He could be the main win con for a new deck that doesn't exist currently. So that'll be interesting. Although this set feels very much like I'm not going to make new decks. Instead, I'm just going to add to pre-existing decks. Yeah. Next, we have Fiend Artisan. It's a 2-cost black, green creature nightmare 1/1, and it gets +1/+1 for each creature card in your graveyard. And you can pay X and black and green and tap it to sacrifice another creature, which will then, by the way, put another creature card in your graveyard if it is not a token that you're sacrificing, which will make this bigger. And search your library for a creature card with converted mana cost X or less. So you could sacrifice a 1/1 and pay 7 into X, and you're still going to search for converted mana cost 7 or less. So the sacrifice creature is just kind of an additional cost, which actually isn't a cost. A lot of decks are really going to like this. Also, because of its mana cost, it can fit in both black decks and green decks, or black and green decks, which means this is going to see a ton of play, because not only are you getting to not free cast, because you do have to pay X, but first off, you can dodge colors. Like if something costs like 2 red, 3 blue, and 2 white, and it's a creature, not a ultimatum, you could theoretically dodge that by paying a bunch of colorless mana into this. You can do this and also it's not just like you're doing it from your hand. You have to just go get the perfect thing from your library for any situation. And honestly, this is starting to show a change in Wizards where they are allowing more shuffling, because every time you activate this, you're shuffling your library, which is kind of interesting, and it's at $15. Next, we have Vivian, Monsters Advocate. It's a 5-cost legendary planeswalker Vivian. It lets you look at the top card of your library and cast creature spells from the top. You can create a beast, which can either have Vigilance, Reach, or Trample, so depending on the situation, it's very good. And then -2, you can basically just search your library for a creature card with lesser converted mana cost than a creature card you can cast currently, if that makes any sense, and put it onto the battlefield. So it lets you basically 2 for 1. You're gonna pay 5, then you're going to get a 5 and a 4 cost, but that 4 cost you get to pick anything from your deck. It's $18. I think this could totally see some play. This might be a new deck, is a mono green deck. I mean, we're already kind of saying that, but a mono green deck that actually is super competitive, or maybe you throw in a red in there, and then you get Vivian and Luca, maybe. We'll see. I think this again would either go way up or way down. I don't think it's gonna sit right where it is. And then at number 1, we have Kinnan, Bonder Prodigy, which is a green and blue legendary creature human druid, and it lets you basically create more mana, which it seems like all Simic cares about, is creating lots and lots of mana. And then you can pay 7 and free cast some non-humans. Woo. And then it's at $20. Now, I think this probably deserves to be the number 1 card in the entire set in terms of price, but you know what's very interesting? Why don't we compare these prices to Theros Beyond Death. So these are not the current Theros Beyond Death prices. So on the left, we have Theros Beyond Death when it was released, and on the right, we have Ikoria when it was released, because it's not fair to look at Theros prices now because it's an old set. What it is fair to do is compare them for when they were first released. Now, looking at the number 1, Uro, Titan of Nature's Wrath, was at $38, and actually, I looked at it, it's at $39 now, and Kinnan is only at $20. Now, that could be due to the COVID-19 outbreak, but Uro is still holding his price strong. So does this mean Ikoria isn't going to see as many cards that impact the game? I think so. I mean, Theros utterly changed the standard meta game, so I think it's highly likely that this doesn't change it nearly as much as Theros. I'd also like to note that in Ikoria, Kinnan, Bonder's Prodigy, a Simic Mythic, is the number 1 most expensive card. In Theros, Uro, Titan of Nature's Wrath, a Simic Mythic, is the most expensive card, and in Throne of Eldraine, Oko, a Simic Mythic, was the most expensive card. So they seem to like making Simic the most powerful color combination. Either way, that's going to do it for this video. If you enjoyed, please hit that like button, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Also, let me know what you think of the set in the comments down below. See you guys next time. Bye.